Hi, Democrats. Today is Tuesday, May 25th. Happy Tuesday. It's time for the Chair's Daily Live. So today is May 25th. So let me start out by acknowledging the somberness of the anniversary that is today. 1 year ago today, we all watched George Floyd be murdered on the street. Rest in peace, George Floyd. Say his name, George Floyd. That was 1 year ago today. And, and as I was thinking about it, I thought, a lot has changed. A lot has changed. Not enough has changed, but a lot has changed. And one of the things that I was thinking about is that with the awareness of that murder and Ahmaud Arbery and all the things that were happening at that time, what happened was, because people have forgotten that a year ago we were in quarantine. We were in heavy quarantine, only going to the grocery store once a week, only leaving the house. And when you left the house, you were the only car on the road. And it seems so far removed. It's a completely different place from where we are now, and people have forgotten it. And I firmly believe, and I talked about it last year, that if we weren't in quarantine and people weren't slowed down and people weren't, in their homes, I don't know that Mr. Floyd's murder would have had the impact that it did. It was the imperfect storm that we were at home, and it was so undeniable, and it made us all slow down and look. And what has happened as a result of that is that the focus of the conversation shifted. And so we had a summer of racial and social unrest. We had a summer of everybody being aware of the things that have been being said for years, because you couldn't deny it, right? You couldn't deny what we saw. You couldn't deny the video of Ahmaud Arbery. You couldn't deny any of that. Because it was just so obvious and it was caught on film. And so what's happened is the conversation has shifted. So we had the whole summer where all over the nation, people were saying, okay, you guys see it. You can't deny it now. Do something about it. Do something about it. And there are folks who, as a result of that, felt like the center of the conversation moved a little bit too focused on one demographic. And the way I look at it is, it was about time that what we know to be true, what has been disputed for years and years, became indisputable and something that we could talk about and could be a focus. And then sadly, as a result, particularly in our state, in Oklahoma, our legislators decided to retaliate because the conversation changed and they were no longer the focus. Because now there was a focus. Now there was a full understanding that there were and are some police, not all police, and no one is saying all police. There were some police who did not value the sanctity of life, who were taking lives into their own hands without cause. That there were individuals who did not value the sanctity of life, and they were taking it into their own hands. And so the conversation has shifted. And I've been doing a lot of interviews over the last 12 months about racial justice and social justice, because that is the moment that we're in, and we need to acknowledge it. And as we are on the eve of the commemoration of the 1921 race massacre, it hammers it home. It hammers it home for me as a African-American woman who lives here in the epicenter. I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so I am here and I can feel the energy in town, and it is electric of all the things that are happening. And you guys know, Stacey Abrams is coming to town. I have been trying to get Ms. Abrams to come to town since July of 2019. She's coming to town. John Legend is coming to town. I didn't invite him. Glad he's here. I like his music. But they're the eyes of the world, not just of America. The eyes of the world will be on Tulsa, Oklahoma, emphasis Oklahoma. And we need to raise to the moment. We need to raise to the moment. And as Democrats, we need to unite. We need to recognize the moment, and we need to reunite and not try and shift what the focus is, because right now, this is the focus. And we will come back and we will fuss about the secret budget, and we will fuss about some of the bills that were passed in this legislative session. But right now, this is the moment that we're in. And I just, it's a heavy moment. I woke up, feeling pretty heavy. All day long, however, my phone has been ringing, and I'll get to that. Every day I like to talk about bills, elected and elected officials. And so I'm going to skip to elected officials, right? Because you guys know it, and I know you're just waiting on me to say it. Yes, President Biden will be in Oklahoma next week. President Biden will be in Oklahoma next week. No, I don't have to extra tickets. Don't call me, don't ask me, don't text me. President Biden is still observing higher COVID protocols than most of us. So he and his team are limited how many people are being around. I'm not being a snob. I'm just saying that's what's going on. So yes, President Biden will be in Oklahoma next week, and let's all rise to the occasion. How about we don't fight one another? How about we unite? And if you can be here, that will be awesome. And as I get more information, I will absolutely talk about it so much it'll make y'all sick. So as I get more information, I will let you know. He will be in town next Tuesday. All righty. So that's my elected official. Now let me go back and talk about bills. There is not a bill specifically to this, but I think that there should be, and I'm asking for your help. In Oklahoma City, in the month of May in 2021, I am personally aware of two dangerous high-speed chases. And the one yesterday where there was a fatality. This is what we mean when we say reimagine the police. Once we have the license plate and we know who's driving the car, do we really need to put other people in danger? As I understand, I don't have the police report, but as I understand, the chase yesterday was a stolen vehicle, and it was a stolen vehicle. And the owner of the vehicle was tracking their vehicle by some app they had on their phone. And they called the police and they said, hey, I know where my car is. It's over here, blah, blah, blah. And it's moving, let's say north. I don't know the directions because I don't live there, but it's moving. So the police saw the car and gave chase. And they ran over a bystander who had nothing to do with the chase. They weren't in the stolen vehicle. They weren't part of the chase. They weren't part of anything. And they lost their lives. We need to reimagine how we handle those situations. Because before the chase, that person was just driving around in a hot car. Person was just driving around in a car that did not belong to them. So they were going to stop. They were going to obey traffic signals. They were going to be somewhere that we could have tracked them down when the car was not moving and arrested them without endangering a whole lot of other people. Never been a police officer. I don't know how all of that works, but it seems to me that if they could track it with their phone and they knew where it was and they knew where it was heading, they could track it to the point where it was sitting still and arrest them without a high-speed chase. And so I'm asking of you, because advocacy does work, to call the mayor. Be polite, but ask him to consider working with the city council and the chief of police or whoever it is who's in charge and modifying the rules about police chases. They rarely turn out well. There's always collateral damage when there is a police chase. Our own executive director, Scott Hamilton, lost a vehicle as a result of a police chase. He wasn't involved. He got slammed into by the person who was running from the police, totaled his car. And I'm sure that everyone who's listening to me knows someone that's happened to. It doesn't have to be that way. Once we know who it is, don't give chase. We can get them when they stop. They're eventually going to have to stop. Just a thought. All righty. So that's the bill that I hope to happen. And the way to make that happen is that we advocate and we let the mayor know that we want it to happen. And his number is 405 297 2424. That is the number to the mayor's office. Please, please, please be polite. The person answering the phone was not the person driving the car. So please be polite, but please let them know that you're unhappy that the Oklahoma City Police give chase in a way that is dangerous. And surely there's another way that that can be handled. All righty. So that's bills. I talked about elected officials, President Biden. And now let's talk about elections. So on June 5th, that is a week from Saturday, the Disability Federation will be having their convention where they're electing their the leadership for the next 2 years. I saw it on Facebook, so I know that it's on Facebook. Go out to Facebook, find out how you can register and get involved there. And we have to change how we talk about the Disability Federation. It is not just people who are currently disabled. Their membership is open to those who are not currently disabled as well. So that is June 5th. That's the Disability Federation. On June 8th, in a lot of counties, including where I live in Tulsa, there are propositions on the ballot that the election happens on June 8th. Please go out to the state election board, print off your sample ballot, study it, know how you're going to vote, and get that turned in on time. That's if you requested an absentee ballot. And if you haven't requested an absentee ballot, it's not too late. Request your absentee ballot. If you're going to vote in person, that's on June 8th. And if you need time off, you need to ask in advance of your boss so that everything shakes out. So that's on June 8th. And then June 12th is state convention. That's where the Oklahoma Democratic Party delegation decides who's going to lead the party for the next 2 years. We elect a chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer, and then 4 affirmative action spots. That happens on June 12th. We also revise our platform and our rules of the road, constitution and bylaws. All of that happens on June 12th. So we are in the last 3 weeks before state convention, and things are getting hot. Everybody's weighing in and trying to sway votes for all the candidates who are running, and it's getting kind of hot. It's getting kind of heated. And I'm just going to try to remind you every day that we need to be kind to one another, because we're going to need each other as we're registering voters for the next 2 years, as we're door knocking for the next 2 years to get Democrats elected. So I'm going to ask you to be kind to each other. We don't need factions, which I feel like people are dividing themselves into factions. We don't need that as the Oklahoma Democratic Party. We need to unite because we have a lot of work to do. And then I am going to say, be careful where you get your information, right? I'm on Facebook. Y'all know I'm on Facebook. And I see a lot of folks who do not have a dog in this race sowing misinformation. It's akin to the Russians coming in and putting out bad information and trying to sway the thing. That is exactly what is going on in our race. And guys, it's the Oklahoma Democratic Party. Let's focus. Let's focus. Let's make sure that we're getting our information from reputable sources and from people who know what's going on. And I say that no matter who they're supporting. If they're supporting me, they're supporting one of the other candidates. We all need to. All the candidates are accessible. If you have questions for the candidates, reach out to them, get your information from the source, and be kind. I can't say it enough. We have a lot of work to do before November 22nd, 2022. We have a lot of work to do, and it's going to be easier the more we can work together. All righty, guys. I'm going to end it there. I will be back tomorrow at 4:15. And a heads up, I won't be doing a live on Memorial Day, but we got a couple more days. So I'll be back tomorrow at 4:15. Hope to see you then.